killed my husband. Hopefully I just shot him. Maybe he's not dead. He should not be dead.
Murdered your husband. In cold blood.
You shot your husband, man? Did you shoot your husband?
This is when killer wives realize they've been caught. On September 8, 2021, the peaceful suburban neighborhood on Jenks Drive saw 3 police visits in less than 6 hours. A couple arguing, a husband locked out of his home, and a desperate 911 call. No one could have predicted that by nightfall, the quiet street would become a crime scene, and a decorated Navy Chief Petty Officer would find herself facing questions about why her husband lay dead in their garage, with 4 gunshot wounds in his back. At 12:53 p.m., Santa Rosa County Sheriff's deputies responded to the first of what would become 3 calls to the Colin Turner residence. Navy Chief Petty Officer Bree Kuhn had called claiming her husband, Colin Turner, a retired Marine, was threatening to take their children to Georgia. When deputies arrived, they found no evidence of physical violence, documenting a verbal dispute between the couple who shared 3 children, a 12-year-old from Bree's previous relationship and 2 smaller children, ages 3 and 4. Deputy Harbarger spoke with Bree, who alleged her husband had pushed her against a doorway.
Did you call us?
Yes.
What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? What's going on today, ma'am?
So my husband is trying to take the kids.
What's up, big guy?
He threw me on the floor and pushed me against the wall.
And this all happened today?
This happened. We've
What
been
the-
having issues over since the weekend.
What are the issues about?
Just typical relationship stuff.
Are you guys married?
Yeah, we're married, but his go-to is to use the kids against me. So
Yes.
he's trying to take them to Georgia. And I don't want them to go.
What's that?
But without visible injuries or witnesses, deputies could only document the incident and leave, advising Bree to file a statement. Colin Turner remained outside the home. At 5 p.m., it was Colin's turn to call 911. When Deputy Lane arrived, he found Colin locked out of the house. The couple's arguments had continued, and Bree had taken batteries out of the door locks and closed the garage door to prevent Colin from entering.
Hey, my wife won't let me in my house.
Okay, is this wife?
Domestic dispute? Yep. So
Okay, can I talk to you over here? Ma'am, hold on, just one second. We'll get this figured out, okay? All right, so what's going on, Bishop? You still live here. By all means, you got into your home however you got to enter your home. Make sense?
yeah, so she's allowed to change the locks, and I'm allowed to break a window. Is that what you're saying?
I'm not telling you to break a window. If you want to tear, I mean, it's your property. However, you got to get into your house. You got to get into your house. If it's your home and you live here and you got your items in there.
This advice, that Colin could enter his house however he needed to, would prove fatally prescient in just over an hour. At 6:22 p.m., Colin Turner made his third and final contact with law enforcement. Locked in the garage by Bree, he called 911. What happened next was captured in real time during the call, a recording that would later become the most damning piece of evidence in Bree Kuhn's murder trial. While on the phone with the dispatcher, Colin reported that Bree was trying to break his arm. Suddenly, a gunshot rang out. "She just shot me," Colin said. 5 seconds of silence followed, then 3 more gunshots in rapid succession. Then, silence. Deputies arrived within 4 minutes, finding Bree in shock and Colin dead from 4 gunshot wounds to his back. Their 3 children were no longer in the home. Bree had taken them to a neighbor's house moments before the shooting. When deputies arrived, Bree immediately admitted to the shooting.
Hold on, real quick. We're going to search you, okay? Hold on to your hand real fast, okay?
No, I'm fine. That's my kids and my husband. Yes.
Are the kids in the house?
No, they're with the neighbor. Christy Curtis, John. Christy and John Curtis. Any other? I have nothing. Anything on you that I need to be aware of? Nothing. Anything in your bra? No. Bra on? I can have a bra. She's gonna pull apart and make sure you have everything in it, okay? It's a nursing bra. Okay. He was dead. I saw him and I tried to help, but he was dead.
Okay, well, let's not talk about that right now, okay?
My kids don't have a dad or a mom now. And it's my fault. And he's right.
Alright. So right now, we're just gonna do this for right now, okay?
For your safety, for ours, okay?
I'm a murderer.
Listen to me. You're not under arrest right now. You're being detained, okay? While we investigate.
No, you should arrest me. I killed my husband. Hopefully I just shot him. Maybe he's not dead. He should not be dead.
In shock and seemingly remorseful, Bree was placed in the back of a patrol car while deputies secured the scene. EMTs confirmed Colin Turner was beyond saving. At the sheriff's office, Detective Ravel interviewed Bree after reading her Miranda rights. Initially cooperative, Bree outlined the day's events leading to the shooting, claiming self-defense.
I locked him out. He was in the garage. I locked him out.
Okay.
But he didn't. He was still in the garage. So I opened the door to talk to him. And he tried coming in, so I blocked the door, and he kicked my foot. And was trying to push to go to the door. And I was trying to keep him out. I don't. And then I shot him. But he was still coming towards me. I don't think I shut the door, and I went to get my kids, and I took them out of the house, around back, to go to the neighbor's house.
As the interrogation continued, Bree's story began to unravel. She couldn't explain why she had a gun in her hand when opening the garage door, and grew increasingly distressed.
Now listen to me when I tell you that. Okay, it's not the mistakes that define us, it's how we move on from those mistakes.
Then I'm going to jail. I need to talk to my dad. I need to talk to my
Let me
dad.
just ask the one quick question. Okay, why did it happen? Bree, just tell us why it happened. That's...
Why did they just arrest him?
I don't know.
When? And then he called the cops again.
Why did it go down?
The detectives revealed to Bree that they had the 911 recording, which directly contradicted her self-defense claims.
The main information that we have is what's on that recording.
I just want to talk to him.
That's why we're asking you and you to be really clear about what was going on the other side of that recording.
I told you.
So what was he doing? You said something about him. You thought he was going to kill. You thought he was going to kill you. What made you think that?
Bree, the only thing...
I gotta talk to my
I
dad.
know. The only thing that we have on that recording is your husband talking to our dispatch saying that you locked him in the garage. Your husband is calm,
I gotta lock him in the garage.
okay? And then the second later, the door opens, one shot goes off. He tells our dispatch, she just shot me. About 5 more seconds go by, and 3 more shots go off.
At this point, Bree requested to speak with her father and a lawyer, ending the interview. 3 years passed before Bree Kuhn's case went to trial in September 2024. The prosecution's case centered on the damning 911 recording, the autopsy showing 4 gunshot wounds to Turner's back, and body cam footage. The defense initially planned to argue battered spouse syndrome, claiming Colin had abused Bree and she feared for her children's safety. However, when Bree opted not to testify, this strategy collapsed. Without her testimony establishing a pattern of abuse, the defense struggled to counter the physical evidence. After a 4-day trial and 4 hours of deliberation, the jury found Bree Kristen Kuhn guilty of first-degree premeditated murder. Judge James Duncan sentenced her to life in prison without parole. Bree remains incarcerated at the Santa Rosa County Jail while her appeal moves through the system. While Bree's case ended in bloodshed at home, another would explode inside a hospital with 1 gunshot and a locked door.
Okay, you shot your husband, ma'am? What? Did you shoot your husband? No. Okay.
On January 21st, 2023, in Daytona Beach, Florida, what began as a routine day for hospital staff would quickly become a life-or-death standoff that no one involved would ever forget. The 11th floor of Advent Health was quiet that Saturday morning. Nurses made their rounds, checking on patients, administering medications, and updating charts. In room 1106, 77-year-old Jerry Gilland had been receiving treatment for his terminal illness. His wife of 53 years, Ellen Gilland, arrived for her daily visit, carrying her purse and the weight of a decision made 3 weeks earlier. The elderly couple had formed a pact after Jerry's diagnosis. If his suffering became unbearable, Ellen would end his life. She had agreed, believing it was an act of mercy, but she didn't share their plan with anyone else. Shortly after 11:30 a.m., hospital staff heard a single gunshot. A nurse rushing to investigate found the door to room 1106 closed. When she tried to enter, she found Ellen standing near her husband's bed, a revolver pointed directly at her. "Don't come in here," Ellen warned. "I'll shoot." The nurse immediately backed away and alerted security. Within minutes, the hospital initiated emergency protocols, evacuating nearby rooms and calling 911. What should have been a routine medical shift was now becoming a potentially deadly crisis. Daytona Beach police officers responded quickly, arriving to find hospital staff scrambling to move patients away from the 11th floor danger zone. As they approached room 1106, they had limited information, only that an elderly woman had shot her husband and was now barricaded with a gun. Officer Robert Mansfield was among the first to arrive. His body camera captured the tense initial encounter.
Windows connected. Get them out.
Is it patient?
This is window connected. Watch that window. That connects to the room. You don't want to crossfire and shrapnel.
I'll give it a push.
Come on.
Don't worry about it. Ready?
Police department. Police department, show your hands. You want to see everybody? Show your hands. Get back. Yep, gun. Get back. Guns in. Gun right towards us. Can I got the suit. Guns right towards us. I got the suit shield. Drop the gun! Drop the gun right now! Drop the gun! Drop the gun! You got any eyes, Elder Stars?
What's that?
You got any eyes?
I can't see.
She's sitting right behind the bed.
Yeah, the show on the other side. I think that's
It's a black revolver. It's a visitor. Drop the gun! Drop the gun! Drop the gun! Just drop it. Just put it on the ground and slide it away from you. Drop the gun!
Faced with an armed subject in a hospital full of vulnerable patients, the officers backed out and established a perimeter, rather than engage in a potentially deadly exchange of gunfire. The immediate priority became evacuating nearby rooms and ensuring the safety of other patients and staff. With Ellen barricaded in the room and armed, the situation evolved into a standoff. The hospital was forced to evacuate 33 other patients from the floor, disrupting critical medical care and creating a ripple of fear throughout the facility.
What's your first name so I can address you properly? Or your last name? I can go with either one. Ellen? Can I call you Ellen? Okay. My name's Bob, like I said, so if you have any questions, you want to talk, I'm not responding, you just call my name out, all right?
As SWAT team members positioned themselves, negotiators began the delicate process of establishing communication with Ellen. Sergeant Bob Ransom took the lead, working to build rapport with the armed grandmother.
Tell me what's going on. Tell me what's. I don't want to hurt you. We don't want to hurt you. Tell me what's going on. Just talk to me. Can you see? Talk to me. What's going on? Why can't you drop the gun? Why can't you drop the gun? I'm listening. I'm talking to you. I'm here. Let us help you. We don't want to hurt you. We're scared too. Right here. Come on. Reach your mind. Reach your mind. I got you. Okay. Yes, ma'am. Okay, so did you do it? Okay, you shot your husband, ma'am? Did you shoot your husband? Okay. Do you want to hurt yourself? Ma'am, we don't want you to do that. Can you please let us help you? We can work our way out of this, okay?
Gradually, Ellen began to communicate. The picture that emerged was heartbreaking. An elderly couple with no children, no nearby family, facing the terminal illness of a husband of 53 years. They had made a pact that Ellen would end Jerry's suffering if it became unbearable, and she had followed through on her promise. But the second part of their plan, Ellen ending her own story, had stalled when she found herself confronted by police. Sergeant Ransom continued the difficult negotiation, working to build trust.
How old are you, Alan? Okay. So you're the same age as my mom. I heard you telling them earlier you don't have any family here or anything?
As soon as she gets up, she's going to be right here.
I heard you telling them earlier you have no family or anything? Okay. Is there any way you can put the gun down just to talk to me? We're not coming in. Just put the gun down just to talk to me? Well, we don't want to see that happen, ma'am. We care. We wouldn't be here if we didn't. But I do know a little bit about you now. When I signed up to do this, ma'am, I signed up knowing there's going to be people that I can help that I've never met before, and I'll probably never see again. And it's about helping people. That's what this is about. I don't care what the news shows you. We get in this job, this line of work, to help people. And that's why we're all here. Okay?
Hour after tense hour passed as negotiators worked to convince Ellen to surrender peacefully. She revealed her concerns about her husband's medical care and her fear of what would happen to her now.
I'm not a doctor, so I don't know what was going on and why he wasn't getting any better. But I can assure you on what happens from here forward. We're not going to cuff you behind the back and throw you in a car or anything like that. I promise you.
Just pointed right at us.
As the standoff approached its fourth hour, SWAT team members prepared to intervene if negotiations failed. The entire hospital floor remained in lockdown, with staff and patients in nearby areas sheltering in place. Eventually, tactical officers used a flashbang device as a distraction, allowing them to enter the room and secure Ellen without injury. The standoff had lasted nearly 4 hours, during which the entire 11th floor was evacuated and hospital operations severely disrupted. Ellen Gilland was taken into custody, initially facing a first-degree murder charge. As investigators pieced together the details, they confirmed that Ellen had indeed shot her husband of 53 years as part of a pact they had made 3 weeks earlier. Jerry had been suffering from a terminal illness, and the couple had agreed that Ellen would end his life rather than watch him continue to suffer. The elderly woman, who had never before been in trouble with the law, spent 42 days in the Volusia County Jail before being released on a $150,000 bond. Over the following months, prosecutors worked to determine appropriate charges, taking into account Ellen's age, the circumstances of the shooting, and the impact on hospital staff and patients. In December 2023, nearly a year after the shooting, Ellen accepted a plea deal. She pleaded no contest to reduced charges: manslaughter with a firearm, 2 counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon for pointing her gun at hospital staff, and 1 count of aggravated assault on a law enforcement officer. On March 1st, 2025, Ellen, now 78 years old, appeared before Circuit Judge Catherine Weston for sentencing. During the hearing, Officer Mansfield testified about what he encountered that day in room 1106.
When you first entered the room, can you describe to the courtroom what you saw?
When I first entered the room, I saw the bed with the male laying there, and then saw Mrs. Gilland on the other side holding a black revolver right towards me.
All right, when you say right towards you, was she pointing the barrel towards you?
Yes, the barrel was right towards me, yes.
And is that why you kind of we see you backing out of the room on the body cam footage?
Correct.
Now, why didn't you engage her in a firefight essentially at that point in time?
Because initially when I first started, when I had 11 floors to go up, I was thinking it's a hospital, it's got a lot of oxygen tanks and everything in there could possibly explode, so the last thing that I wanted to do was shoot inside of the hospital. So once I went in there, I saw her, we had time, we had nothing but time, so I just backed out, and hopefully we could talk her out of doing anything that she wanted to do.
The judge had to balance compassion for Ellen's situation with accountability for the trauma inflicted on others. Judge Weston addressed Ellen directly.
For the testimony that I've heard today, and Ms. Gilland, I accept your testimony today that you've given with respect to the fact that Jerry was suicidal. I know there's no records that document that, but I accept what you stated, that he told you and continued to express that he was suicidal. I think that makes sense, that a husband would confide in his wife of 53 years with respect to his serious emotional condition. I accept your testimony, ma'am, that his condition was worsening. Can you hear me okay? Yes. Okay. I accept your testimony that you and Jerry jointly decided to commit suicide, that you believe that was the only way out.
However, the judge emphasized that this wasn't just about Ellen and Jerry.
I want to point out that, as everybody knows, this is not just a case about you and your terminally ill or very ill husband, because we've heard from the fact, from the testimony today, that there are many other victims in this case. And by entering your plea, you've admitted to having pointed a firearm at 2 hospital employees. You've admitted to having pointed a firearm at many Daytona Beach police officers as well. And we've heard today that there were 34 patients, 33 other patients on that floor who potentially had their treatment, their medical treatment disrupted, not to mention putting them in fear for their lives and perhaps their family as well. And then I don't even know how many hospital employees and their family members were impacted by the decision that you made.
The courtroom heard from hospital staff who had been traumatized by the incident. After considering all factors, Judge Weston delivered her sentence.
So, ma'am, I am going to adjudicate you guilty. You will be a convicted felon as a result of this incident. I'm going to sentence you to 366 days DOC, that's prison, and you will get credit for the 42 days that you've served. That will be followed by 12 years of probation.
The judge went beyond simple punishment, crafting a sentence aimed at rehabilitation and restoration.
The probationary terms are that you have to write letters of apology to the civilian victims and the 6 law enforcement victims that were identified in the indictment. And then this is an important part of the sentence as well. I want you to perform a minimal amount of community service hours per month for as long as you're physically able to do that. I want you to do 8 community service hours a month, so that's maybe 2 a week. And I don't care what you do, but I want you to realize, ma'am, that your life still continues to have value and you can contribute to society.
Ellen was also ordered to write letters of apology to all the victims named in the indictment and to undergo a mental health evaluation and treatment. While Ellen ended her husband's life out of mercy, the next case involves a woman, Sabrina Lyman, who, together with her lover, plotted the merciless murder of her husband.
Because you know that if your husband's working for the railroad at the time when the railroad is on duty and he gets killed on duty, that there's a lot of motivator there for money.
On August 17, 2014, in Tehachapi, California, a single gunshot echoed through the BNSF railway facility, followed moments later by another. By the time coworkers discovered Robert Lyman's body in the break room, his killer had vanished without a trace. As detectives notified his wife, Sabrina, of his death, her tearful reaction seemed genuine. The blonde mother of 2 collapsed in grief, insisting her husband had no enemies. But in the months that followed, investigators would discover just how deceiving appearances can be. To friends in Silver Lakes, California, Sabrina and Robert Lyman were the ideal couple. High school sweethearts who married young. They built an enviable life with 2 children and an active social circle. Robert worked hard at BNSF Railway, while Sabrina maintained their busy social calendar of parties, boating trips, and vacations. But beneath the perfect facade lay secrets. In 2008, the couple had opened their marriage, engaging in swinging with other couples. By 2012, Sabrina had grown tired of this lifestyle and wanted to return to monogamy, influenced by her newfound religious beliefs. Robert, however, refused to change, creating silent tension in their marriage. At the crime scene, detectives found a few clues. Robert had been shot twice, once in the chest and once in the head, in what appeared to be an execution-style killing. Nothing was stolen, and there were no signs of forced entry, suggesting the killer had targeted Robert specifically. The facility's limited surveillance cameras showed nothing suspicious, but footage from neighboring businesses captured a motorcyclist in dark clothing arriving at 4:15 p.m. and leaving at 5:48 p.m., just after Robert was killed. With the rider's face obscured by a helmet, investigators had little to go on. For 3 months, the case went cold. Sabrina maintained her husband had no enemies, and no suspects emerged. Then, in November 2014, came a breakthrough. A firefighter named Jason Bernatine came forward with a disturbing voicemail from his colleague, 24-year-old Jonathan Hearn, suggesting involvement in Robert's murder.
Because you were living a life of sin, and he wanted to save you from that. What do you do now? You tell me everything you know. Because I'll be honest with you. What I get out of this interview is going to make a huge decision on if you ever touch and see your kids again. Ever. In your entire life. And right now I feel like that you have some more information that you're not giving to me. And you're not telling me everything I need to know. And this would be the time, this is our last interview. Ever. Now's the time to tell me the truth about everything. And it honestly is gonna make the decision on if, if you see him again, touch him. I just need you to be honest.
No, it's kind of happened fast too, where he's come into the picture, and to come to church on Sunday.
This last Sunday? The church, what church do you go to?
Grace Bible Church.
Where's it at?
Silver Lakes. So I feel like it's kind of moved fast, and I have said, I'm just trying to get by, and I feel like we've been doing better.
We as
the kids and I. But then he's come into play pretty
quickly. Have you introduced the kids to Rob or to Jonathan?
Oh yeah. He's been around.
Yeah.
He's been around.
He's a buddy, huh?
Yep. Yep. He's been over. Watched movies. Yeah, I've thought this is so crazy. How could Rob be gone? How could Rob be gone? And then we are just kind of,
together. He's over your house, he's hanging out, you guys are going to the movies, going to lunch, kind of falling into that relationship role. So I need to get some clarification on a few things. Back before Rob got murdered, okay? But before we talk, I want to let you know that you have to be totally honest with me.
Okay.
This is so freaking serious. I can't tell you how serious this is.
Okay. I gotcha. I'm with you.
If you're lying to me, it's going to be very difficult for you.
Okay.
Okay. Before the marriage, or before the death of Robert, you guys have had conversations, multiple, 7,333 phone calls, text messages. I've done my homework. Okay. You guys have had to have some sort of conversation discussing your unhappiness in your marriage and your divorce or possible divorce, and then at what point did Jonathan say that he could probably take care of it for you?
He never said he could take care of it.
Never.
It was like, no, like we could be together, and
and
live for God.
So he said we could be together and live for God? What did you think about that?
I just kind of lived, I thought I would think about it, but it was like I was living like two lives,
So a life with Robert and then a life with Jonathan.
in a way, yeah.
I'm sorry, what?
We talk about things, and being together, the kids, talk about the kids, raising the kids. We talked about that a lot. Badly, things were being done, like.
So he's saying you were a bad parent and Rob was a bad parent? Because he obviously knows. He's 26 years old and he, you know what I mean?
He never, he would never say, you're a bad parent. Rob's a bad parent. I don't think he would ever say that, but he would say there's a lot of, need for God in our lives.
And that was his way in. He started to make you feel guilty. Do you remember a specific date before Rob was murdered that he told you that Jonathan said we could be together and live for God?
Do I remember a date?
Yeah, like maybe how, like a week before, a month before, all the time?
More than we talked about, living for God. More. I'll say maybe a month or two, maybe 3.
Did you know that he had planned to murder your husband?
No.
You didn't know that?
No, did not know that he planned on murdering Robert.
Even more shocking was Jason's additional information. Jonathan had been having an affair with Sabrina Lyman.
I can't. It's like I want it to just be a lie, like there's no way. I can't.
After their murder, has he talked to you about it and told you that he did it?
No, he never said.
Never ever?
He never said, I killed Robert.
Do you know that he has 2 firearms that are the same caliber?
What's that?
It's the same size bullet, same exact bullet.
What kind of gun?
Semi-automatic handgun. You need the restroom or anything? No? You good? You want to go to the restroom real quick?
I knew that Jonathan had a gun.
Tell me about that.
I just knew that he was a investigator for the fire service.
And what kind of investigations did you do on?
Yeah.
Totally feeding you a lot of bullshit about the way things go.
And for some reason it made me feel better. Like, I don't know why he made me feel better. He made me feel better just talking with him, and just like, I felt like the whole affair thing was just gonna put our family and me, you know what I mean? Like, I just felt like the whole thing was a fair in my head, fair. and you go like that. I just thought, how horrible would that be?
An affair?
Murdered, you know? So
Right.
it was like, oh my gosh, this is like such horrible timing. This is horrible timing. I don't know why this has happened. I don't know why the timing is like this, you know? And then when you start feeling, you know, some, you know, questioning, and it's like, oh, you know.
I can tell you that.
So, and we have discussed it a lot, you know, kind of like what to, you know, go over and say.
Why would you discuss that? About what to go over, that you set this up and plan this. That's probably what they're telling me.
I can't imagine that. I can't
No?
imagine him saying that. No.
Why not? Because he loves you? Because he's a man of God, but he's having an affair with a married woman?
No, not because of those things, because I didn't set it up, and because I can't imagine him saying that.
I'm kind of curious what he's going to tell me too. If he's going to tell me that you planned this whole thing because you know that if your husband's working for the railroad at the time when the railroad is on duty and he gets killed on duty, that there's a lot of motivator there for money. $300,000 life insurance plus another $50,000 plus the possibility of the railroad coming in and going,
No.
hey, we can pay you off.
Detective Randall Roberts, I don't care about money. Money, I can't even tell you how.
Right.
I don't care
I mean,
about money.
if I was in your shoes right now, I wouldn't care about money either. I would care about my survival.
Yeah.
Not going to prison for the rest of my life. That's what I would care about.
Yeah, of course.
I don't give a shit about money. That's why I work. I'm a cop. I don't care about money. It's money. It does make the world go round, but it's not everything.
It's not everything.
So
We had talked about, you know, just Robert being murdered at work. You know, like how, why would that happen? You know.
and you can see the way this looks really bad because you have an affair.
Yeah.
You have a motivator for money. Right? This looks terrible.
Yeah.
And there's a murder, continuing affair, and people lying to conceal the affair and to conceal the murder.
Yeah. I can see how that looks really, really bad.
Mm-hmm.
I can definitely.
So what's Jonathan going to tell me?
Oh, I have no idea. I have no idea what he's going to tell you.
Because apparently he hasn't asked for a lawyer. He wants to talk to me. You know what usually happens in these cases? One person tells me that, in this case, Jonathan's going to tell me that you started all this and you talked him into it. You know what I mean? That's what he's probably, that's probably what he's going to say. He's probably going to tell me that.
I can't, well, that wouldn't be true.
He's lied before.
I can't imagine.
He's lied about
I can't imagine him saying. I
the
mean,
motorcycle. He's lied about talking to Robert 3 other times before the murder. He lied about murdering Robert, driving over there to Tashby and committing the murder.
He talked to Robert 3 other times.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's a liar. But he thinks it's okay to lie because he's forgiven for his sins. he'll repent for those sins he's committed. And he thinks he's going to be okay. Nope. It's not okay. You can't just go out and commit a murder and then just think that you're doing God's work. You know, think that I'm doing the work of God because He wants me to save her from her sins. And then think it's okay. And that's what he thinks. And I'm wondering what he's going to tell me.
I can't even believe.
So, we're kind of not getting anywhere. I mean, we've gone over this stuff over and over and over. And I need some more information from you. I need to know some stuff. You need to tell me. I'm serious. You gotta start telling me some shit because I don't have enough. Voice over internet protocol?
What's that?
Well, he called you on a number that gave you a heart attack. The 661 area code number.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God, you almost gave me a heart attack. So why would he go to the extent of getting a phone that we couldn't track, or if he thinks we couldn't track, and thinks we wouldn't
On
be able
an
to...
internet phone.
Yeah, why would he do that? For an affair. It's all about the murder. Seriously, that's what this is all about. It's not about the affair. The affair is nothing. It's about concealing everything for the murder. So why would he go get the voice phone?
I didn't know that he had that until he called from that.
And you were tripping out, huh?
Yeah, I was I was like,
oh my
Detective
God.
Meyer has the burner phone for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I had the burner phone. A long time ago.
I never said you weren't a good detective.
Well, I think you did say a few things. I'm trying to remember exactly, but you did talk about me.
It wasn't bad. I don't know what I thought.
So let me explain to you, because we honestly, we're kind of spinning our wheels. We're just kind of going over stuff now. We're not getting any information that I need.
Okay.
Okay? I need to get some hard information from you. I need you to tell me the
You're
truth.
giving me the hard information.
I've given you a lot of it.
Yeah.
Well, you know, this is, I have books and books and books and books of evidence on this whole thing. I mean, I can stack the books up and they would stand as tall as you on all the evidence I've collected during this last 3 months in one day. Tons of it. You need to be honest with me, because he's going to tell me. He's going to tell me exactly what happened.
Well, good.
Because you know why? Because he has to. He has to tell somebody this. He's going to have to tell me what happened. For his conscience, he's curious, right? Human minds are curious. They want to know, what evidence do you have to show that I've done this? All of our minds are curious. And he is going to ask, he's going to want to know, what do you have? And he's going to want me to tell him. But what I'm wondering is what he's going to tell me about you.
I know.
Okay. Why would you tell him where Robert worked at?
That was a long time ago.
Like how long?
Like probably a long time ago. Half of a year ago or so.
why specifically would you tell him that there's a building in Tehachapi?
We talked about Tehachapi, and
It's right off the freeway.
he's asked me.
He's asked you, why do you think he asked you?
I don't know, like it was in conversation, like literally. In conversation.
Okay.
Of where Robert works and just kind of like.
Do you know why he was doing that? Because he was planning and preparing so he could be with you forever. He's planning this out. He was making this plan up in his head. He had a lot of pre-planning done. Like driving up there, checking it out. Going there on his motorcycle, checks it out, finds out how much fuel he needs to make it there and back. Where his points are at, where he's going to stop at. This is a plan. He had a master plan. So that's why he talks about it. And that's why he had questions for you. Where's this place at? But I'm wondering why would you even tell him? I mean, it's your husband's place of business. Why would you specifically tell him that it's a business right off the freeway in Tehachapi? That's where he works at.
I don't know why
That's
I
crazy.
told him that. It was in conversation. I don't know.
You know what? I think if you would have never told him that, he would have never been able to find it. Because it's not on the map. You can't Google it and find it. I've tried. He would have never ever known where that BNSF shop was at if you wouldn't have told him. He would have not known where to go. You know what I mean?
Why did I tell him?
Yeah, why? That's what I'm wondering. I need more information from you. I need you to tell me, why would you give that information to him?
I'm trying to think of how even a conversation.
Did you guys have any specific conversations before the murder, before the day of the murder? A couple of days before about him maybe going on a ride on his motorcycle?
I want to say no.
No. You want to say no?
No.
Okay. But he did mention that he could be with you. You guys could be together and live in. That's my remote for my car. Battery's dead. He did mention to you that you guys could be together and live for God, right? Remember talking about that a bazillion times?
Yeah.
So you didn't think by him saying that maybe that he had intentions on maybe removing Rob from the picture?
No.
Why would you not think that?
Because we'd spoken of divorce. You know, like that was kind of, and we were just like living, you know, just living in our and I did not know.
So you know that we have possibly heard some conversations that you guys have had in your house here, right?
Yeah.
You want to tell me about some of those?
How'd you do that? It's all detective work. Oh gosh. About worrying about if you know, the detectives are watching us kind of thing, you know. And talked about kids, about living life. God has a purpose, and through this,
I don't think that in this master plan was the, my daughter's driving me crazy.
Oh, how old is she?
She's 14, she'll be 15 next week.
What does she want?
Huh?
What does she want right now?
She wanted a laptop. Give me a second.
Sorry, just opened my hair.
Okay. We're actually gonna take a break, kid. Get you something to eat or something. I'm freaking starving too. I haven't eaten all day. Gosh darn it. Bring your water bottle. I'll go somewhere else. More comfortable.
Phone records confirmed what Jason had told them. Sabrina and Jonathan had exchanged thousands of calls and texts, using burner phones after Robert discovered their affair in March. On the day of the murder alone, they spoke for nearly 4 hours in multiple calls, with texts exchanged precisely when Robert was being killed. On November 18, 2014, detectives arrested Jonathan Hearn and brought Sabrina in for questioning. At first, she downplayed their relationship, claiming they were just friends who met at Costco in January. When confronted with phone records, she reluctantly admitted there might have been talking beyond friendship, but denied any knowledge of the murder. The interrogation took a dramatic turn when detectives revealed they'd been wiretapping her and Jonathan's phones, capturing coded religious conversations about the investigation. In one call, Jonathan told Sabrina that DNA could be the thing that sets us free. Most damning of all, a search of Jonathan's home had uncovered the motorcycle seen in the surveillance footage, the helmet and clothing worn by the killer, and the murder weapon. Investigators also found something unexpected: a half-empty bottle of arsenic trioxide.
You can tell from the crime scene photos and stuff that there was a struggle. So Rob's fighting for his life, and this douchebag is killing him because he wants you and your kids. He wants to be Rob. He wants to be Rob. Did you ever suspect him of doing this?
I didn't want to suspect him.
You didn't want to? Did you?
I just thought who could do this to Robert? Like why? You know.
So, I mean, it's yes or no. Did you ever suspect him of doing that?
Yes, after seeing the video and conversations and could have been me, but it could have been planted. It could have been all these things. It could have been. We could keep going over all these things. It could have been. They could say this. We could do this. Kind of thing. We went over a lot of that kind of stuff, like a lot,
Because it wasn't about the affair. This is about him concealing the fact that he murdered your husband and he didn't want people to find out about it. This is what this whole thing was about. It wasn't about the affair at all. It wasn't about the affair. It's about the murder. And he thought he was doing God's work because you were living a life of sin, and he wanted to save you from that.
According to their investigation, Jonathan had given the poison to Sabrina in March to spike Robert's banana pudding. She had apparently hidden it in their refrigerator, but backed out at the last minute, telling Robert the pudding had gone bad. Despite mounting evidence, prosecutors felt they couldn't directly link Sabrina to planning the murder. She was released after 2 days, while Jonathan remained in custody. For the next 2 years, Sabrina lived free while detectives continued building their case. The investigation gained new momentum in late 2016 when prosecutors offered Jonathan a deal, a reduced sentence in exchange for testimony against Sabrina. Facing life in prison, he accepted. In January 2017, authorities rearrested Sabrina, charging her with murder, attempted murder, conspiracy, and poisoning. At his trial, Jonathan provided devastating testimony, describing how they had plotted Robert's murder for months.
Her frustrations with Rob became my frustrations. Her demons became my demons. As ironic and sad as this sounds, for Rob's sake, she expressed that he would honestly rather be dead.
He explained that their initial plan to poison Robert had failed when Sabrina lost her nerve. They then devised Plan B, a shooting at Robert's workplace, which Jonathan knew would have minimal security. He portrayed himself as a religious zealot who believed he was rescuing Sabrina from an adulterous husband. A note found in Jonathan's possession read like a justification for murder, with the final line stating, "I want to be with Sabrina and rescue her from Rob." He testified that Sabrina had provided critical information about Robert's work schedule and the facility layout to help him carry out the murder. Throughout her trial, Sabrina remained stoic, showing little emotion even as Jonathan detailed their conspiracy. In a revealing moment that betrayed her true character, she was caught giving the middle finger to a witness testifying against her.
Why in this did you call Jonathan Hearn or speak to Jonathan Hearn to let him know that Detective Meyer had called you and asked you to call him?
Jonathan had asked me to always be in touch with him in regards to, let him know what was going on. And at this point, I did not, I'm sorry.
I had 80 text messages incoming and outgoing to Jonathan Hearn.
I was having an affair to both worlds, but not really.
In February 2018, after a trial lasting nearly a month, the jury found Sabrina guilty of first-degree murder and 3 other charges. She was sentenced to 25 years to life in prison. Jonathan, in exchange for his testimony, received a reduced sentence of 25 years and 4 months for voluntary manslaughter. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed watching this video, watch this one, and don't forget to subscribe.